Concerns about gun violence in this country, whether it's in big cities or the mass shootings that are impacting communities of all sizes. This country has not been able to do anything to curb gun violence. And so we are talking to people on the front lines to discuss what can be done to stop the relentless bloodshed. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw joins us now. Commissioner, this Primary Tuesday is especially a big one in your state, so we are so grateful that you took the time to talk with us tonight. Let's focus on the issue of gun violence and what we can do about it. What are you seeing in particular in Philadelphia in terms of crime? How much is gun related?
A lot of it is gun related. Thank you for even asking that question. We've been saying that a lot of these conflicts have been escalated and have turned into non-fatal shootings or homicides merely because of the fact guns have been introduced into these equations. We've seen younger people being shot. We've seen younger people as our shooters. And because what has become for what used to be, as an example, a fight after school has now turned into a shooting because these conflicts, again, has introduced guns. We seized over or close to 6,000 illegal crime guns off the street last year.
What in particular do you feel lawmakers need to do in order to address this?
Again, it's common sense. Something as simple as if your gun is lost or stolen, a law that requires you to report it as lost or stolen would be an easy fix. We are doing everything that we can to work with our local, state, and federal partners, whether it's the ATF, the FBI, to identify where these guns are coming from, and then not just tracing them, but making sure that we connect them to other shootings to get ahead of the next shooter. But there's only so much that we can do with the influx of guns that we're seeing.
Of course, the nation's focus has now turned to violence and mental health once again after this weekend's mass shooting in Buffalo. Do you see a connection between the two, and what would you like to see done to address the mental health side of things?
You know what, that's a tricky one. I would say the answer is yes, but a lot of what we're seeing goes undiagnosed. So it's pretty easy for us to determine, or usually it's easy for us to determine if someone's experiencing some form of crisis or if there's a developmental disability. But I think with the last 2 years, with this pandemic, the mental or psychological impacts have been tough to measure. And without us having our warm touch points, whether it's in schools, with everything being shut down and folks being so isolated, I think that's one of the things that's driving the numbers that we're seeing, which tells us that our response to gun violence has to be comprehensive. It has to include social services. It has to include housing and ensuring that all of the basic human needs and rights are addressed.
And let's go back to policing and the issue in particular of community relations. What are your struggles in Philadelphia?
Oh, wow. So there's, obviously, whether you're talking about here in Philadelphia or nationwide, there's always been issues, challenges with our relationships. Sometimes I feel like we take 20 steps forward and all it takes is one critical incident, whether it's here in the city or anywhere in the country or in the world, and it takes us 20 years back. So a lot of it has to do with trust building and ensuring that our community trusts us enough to come forward with information, to go to court as a witness to help us solve a lot of these crimes. And then also at the same time, knowing that we're human beings behind the uniform and that we're there to help and that we're there as allies and to be a part of the community as opposed to adversaries.
And you talked in particular about people needing to see you as partners and not adversaries. What would you say your vision is for improving the police relations in your community?
So now that things are starting to reopen, it's getting back out to meeting people where they are, whether it's in rec centers or our places of worship in the communities, to make sure, again, that they can see us, not just virtually, but they can get to know who their assigned officers are, assigned to their area. They're not there today, gone tomorrow, getting to know people on a first name basis, knowing where our young people live, ensuring that we maintain a bridge and a connection to our young people, because that's where we really drop the ball.
And lastly, as you know, some experts say that the problem is that guns are simply too readily available. Of course, there are others who would disagree. New York, for example, has strong gun laws, and that did not stop the carnage in Buffalo. Are there any immediate steps that could be taken in order to help keep guns from criminal hands?
Yeah, I think there's at least a couple of things, right? So from the community standpoint, know what's going on in your house. And I say this because, again, there are more and more young people that are picking up guns for whatever the reason are. Some may think that they have to protect themselves. Some see them being glorified, whether it's video games or whatever it is. And just to say, I'm not pushing for censorship. I'm just saying as a parent myself, know what's going on in your home. The other thing is ensuring that there are consequences. There are far too many people that we've seen that are carrying guns illegally, and they're committing acts of violent crime. And then at times they may even be committing an act of violent crime or a shooting while they're out of custody after already being arrested. So that's something that I think local commissioners or police chiefs have to continue to work with their local prosecutors or their federal prosecutors to ensure that we are targeting, one, the right people.
Commissioner Outlaw, we so appreciate your time and insight. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.